Well, I don't like those boots for much of anything except for a situation like this. If they're dragging, if they're tending to drag, those are cheap boots and they're gonna just wear out and drag, and people end up putting duct tape around them and all that kind of stuff, because until they are straightening up the foot and the nerve conduction returns and they're able to plant that more frequently, they're going to be dragging. But if you slow them down and actually give them an opportunity to plant, they can do that. What I usually do is give it about a week of these just particular walking exercises, the first goal being to slow down and to restrict the home activity. So we're making two huge changes, and they actually make physiological change and brain wiring change too. And if within a week we don't see a substantial difference, then we could talk about getting a different kind of boot. And I've gotten this for one of Dr. Matthews' other clients, but there's a boot that runs around $100, and I'd have to order it online. They only let a licensed professional order them. But it fits on, and there's an attachment that comes to an attachment here and keeps the paw in the right position. So she's not dragging it. The reason I like to do a week of the walking in the floppy funky boot first is to see if by making these big changes we're going to get enough of a change, or if you need to make that investment in that $100 boot. So it's 100, 120, 89, something. It's right in that $100 range. Okay. So trying to watch people's finances too and say, what's necessary here. It's a great design. It's very durable. The rubber on it's better. The rubber gives more traction. So there's a lot of things about it that make it worth the cost versus going, oh, I can just rig something up. I'm the queen of going to Home Depot or Lowe's and going to other stores and making makeshift braces and slings and all kinds of stuff. But in this case, it's worth that difference. I feel like she's got the capability and energy to go ahead and start at 2 or 3 15-minute walks a day like this. Now I realize with your schedule, you might get in one, but this is why you brought the helpers with you. This is not a recipe across the board. I change my exercise prescriptions, as it were, case by case. Sure. I don't normally start out at 15 minutes, and I don't normally give 3, but I feel her strength, I feel her energy, I get a sense for her nature anyway, and she's not going to be running all over 42 acres anytime in the really near future. Now, summer, fall, I could say based on what I see, I have reason to believe that that's going to come back, and then she'll be back to doing that without scraping up everything. But right now what she's showing me is when she's slowed down and forced to use that leg, she is planting it every time. So every time that, as I was watching her, she didn't knuckle once, and that's a great sign. Now if she were knuckling, or I see these dogs when they're still dragging, so that's not a big deal either, because they work out of it, and she's obviously working out of that too. So keeping her going that slow pace, obviously she's not going to be dragging. She's going to be, and that's going to force the right structured use, which is going to build the muscles that we're looking for to help stimulate. At first, I'd like you to do for the next week the 3 15-minute walks, and we'll just see how that goes, and you're going to give me feedback. Then we'll introduce things like obstacles that she's stepping over, and then strengthening. In fact, we have a lot of these, just in case it ever floods around Austin, type of things. This is a perfect type of hill. This is a little steep for the first beginning, but part of this hill isn't quite as steep, and we would use a hill similar to this for hill repeats, for strengthening in the future. And so there's a lot of things we'll do for proprioception, so she can get back her depth perception, her balance, all that kind of stuff, and then her flex and extend. to say that it stimulates cells to do what they're going to do beneficially anyway. So produce energy and increases healing, encourages healing, whether it's deeper bone healing in this case. For not in this case, but if we had for this laser, I can do work on legs where they've had surgery and the bone's been cut or they've had a broken bone. I use it a lot,
and it stimulates bone growth.
Of the right kind too, because there can be the wrong kind of stimulation. So it stimulates wound healing and encourages wound healing. So stimulates cell production, and when I say cell production of the right kind, if you have a disease process, it's not going to technically increase that disease process. It's going to encourage the beneficial cells to